Hello, my name is Joanne Darkwonyx Hanson, and I make your crazy decks. I think Undertaker is the card that we don't really deserve or need, so let's just get it out of here. I've been Mr. Biggisworth. That's the badass one. I think I will go back to myself watching some homework in 5th grade because I might need to like change some answers back then because, everyone missed their time in 5th grade, right? I think I will pick myself because I know what I'm capable of.
Hello, I'm Firebat from Team Archon. I think that the Undertaker nerf is really good for the game. I thought the Undertaker wasn't fun. Snowball effect made a lot of games completely unwinnable, and I'm really glad it's gone. And I hopefully can open up some more fun decks to be able to be played. Huffer, definitely Huffer. There's like no other answer to that one. You gotta hit him in the face. Any event, probably Hearthstone related. I would like to go back in time and see Artosis try and execute his own Sylvanas. I think that would be a hilarious event to witness, like live. In a bar fight, I'd have to choose Hosty. He's a friend of mine. I lived with him. He's a giant.
Right.
All right, so we saw the interview for Darkwonyx. I'm actually surprised. I mean, I liked his answer when he was asked, who would you pick in a bar fight? Because I can't believe not everybody said Darkwonyx. I mean, he is so huge. Like, you would see him in real life in a bar fight. I would never. I wouldn't even try to fight myself if I saw Darkwonyx. I'm tiny, right? I'm like half his height. This guy's just so massive. I'm like 5'3", man. This guy is just like 10 feet above me. Bar fight value over 9,000. I think Darkwonyx, best bar fight buddy ever.
What about Arnold though? I
Arnold?
mean,
Oh yeah, right. I forgot. But I mean, Carlos lost. Arnold must be bad. There
uh,
has to be something about Arnold. Carlos lost against Reynad. I can't possibly pick Arnold. I'd be worried for my safety at that point.
I, I hope Arnold won't be mad at Carlos for losing. I mean, I hope I'm going to see Carlos tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, he might just get killed by Arnold. Obviously, one of the strongest players in the Hearthstone community. That mask really, really poker facing him to
It,
the highest extent.
it's not a mask,
Oh right, it's his
is it?
face. Sorry, I forget. Never mind. So we're gonna be seeing in a short moment Firebat versus Darkwonyx. As I said earlier, Darkwonyx, a very, very good deck builder, one of the probably more innovative ones, kind of in the realm of in the same area as Firebat, I'd say to an extent. They're both very creative, but Darkwonyx tends to be a little bit more liberal with the plays that he makes. I mean, I don't know how much preparation he puts in deck building in the way that Firebat does, who's a very methodical player. Darkwonyx might be a bit more, just free flowing in a way. I know he was like a chess player for the longest time.
Well, chess is a really good game to play before Hearthstone, and I'm a chess player as well, so it really helps to plan ahead and look for the checkmate, basically.
Yeah, and I'm looking right now. Firebat's mage is actually Mech Mage. Big surprise right there. Not something we've seen very often. And Darkwonyx went for his rogue, which I think if he gets the proper SI7 agents, the backstabs, he could have a pretty decent way to stabilize. But to
Mhm.
say that it's going to be able to take the early game away from a Mech Mage, that's a complete other story.
Yeah, it might be very hard, especially since Darkwonyx unfortunately didn't get the coin, which is so important for Miracle Rogue. Any
Yeah,
rogue, but especially Miracle.
I don't know if he's
Because-
running Miracle Rogue. We didn't see his list. But
Yeah.
even if he's playing Oil Rogue or like Tinker Sharpsword Oil or something more oriented towards minions, he's gonna have a really tough time dealing with the Mech Mage. And you know, looking at this hand from him, that preparation just Darkwonyx, what a whiff.
This is gonna hurt.
Yeah, and the Snow
He's gonna
Chugger
have
just
to top
freezing
deck.
him.
Darkwonyx is gonna have to top deck turn after turn.
Yeah, I think
Otherwise,
this is gonna have
he's
to
gone.
be. Yeah, I mean,
Do
look
you-
at that Snow Chugger.
As Firebat here, do you wait a turn to play Mech Warper Coin Chugger next turn?
Oh, of course. You need to make sure that the opponent has to deal with two things at once. Otherwise, you give him the ability to, you know, backstab Hero Power 1 on this turn, and then do the same thing on the following turn. You know, so in this case, you're maximizing your chances of having at least one of them stick, which allows you to compound the snowball effect. And actually, this is interesting because now you want to coin Blast Mage all of a sudden.
Yeah. So what if you play
Mad
Scientist? this turn?
Scientist?
Then
Yeah.
you get Mirror Entity. Like
I feel it's better.
nothing can go wrong with Mirror Entity ever. And then you Mech Warper Chugger next turn. There is definitely something at 6 for turn 4.
No, I really like it, and it even allows you to keep the coin for Archmage and Tinnitus if that ever
Yeah.
comes to be necessary. So I do like delaying it just because we saw the Blast Mage. It's funny how a single card you top deck will change your game plan. I'm pretty sure Firebat aimed the Mech War coin Snow Chugger here.
Yeah.
Alright. You know that if that's Mirror Entity, which I believe it is, I mean, Trade Prince Gallywix, that's the smallest thing that Darkwonyx has in his hand right now.
Yeah.
That can't...
I mean, even then, what are the smaller minions he could play? Like SI7, I guess.
Yeah, it's still a 3-3
Just
though.
3, so
Yeah.
and second would be Violet Teachers, I guess. So you definitely don't want to give that to Mage.
Oh, look at this hand. I mean, do you sap something here? I mean, I'm starting to think if you don't, the only target you'll get to sap is like a Blast Mage to negate some of the damage, in which case they just get value twice off of it. If you sap now, you can get some kind of... Like,
You need to get tempo. You can't
Mhm.
let the ball roll, so... Yes, you gotta do it, but...
If you had Blade Flurry, this would be such an easy play.
Yeah.
Like, you just go phase, then on the following turn, you Blade Flurry, kill those two guys, and leave it at that. Oh, goodness. And now this is a nightmare for Darkwonyx. He's gonna get frozen every turn from that Snow Chugger. He's gonna take 4 damage from the Blast Mage straight up. And that 5 attack, it's got 4 health, so it dies to Eviscerate, but there is no Eviscerate in Darkwonyx's hand.
Yeah, so he has to sap this, otherwise he's never gonna get use of his dagger. It's not nice, but it's 2 mana for 2 mana, basically.
Yeah, and I don't feel like allowing the ball... Oh my goodness, 2 Snow Chuggers. Okay, Blade Flurry could still work.
Yeah.
A Blade Flurry here is probably a play I would be happy to make as Darkwonyx in this position. But you have to keep in mind, he cannot play a minion. Because the moment he does, he's going to end up giving the minion to his opponent through Mirror Entity.
I mean...
You know what? Lesser of 30,000 evils.
Yeah.
Oh, no, you
I mean,
can't.
If you skip turn here, you're gonna lose.
die.
You won't
Yeah.
be able to play Gallywix next turn. So I think you gotta play the Violet Teacher and be very sad about it, but...
I mean, you lose because the opponent just coins out Frostbolt, Blast Mage in this specific case. I mean, how do you even recover from this as Darkwonyx? Like, he's got a really, really high curve. If it wasn't for the fact that his head was completely, you know, his best hope at this point is to top deck Eviscerate, play Trade Prince Gallywix, prep a spell, prep Eviscerate, then Dr. Boom, then Rag on curve, and hope that this will, you know, stop some of the aggression coming from the Mage. I don't even think you have to Frostbolt. I mean, you could keep coin for Archmage for all that's worth. And...
Yeah, you could... Oh. Might be greedy.
Really? That just happened? Do you coin Hero Power here?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure you do.
Yeah.
Might
And
as
the
well
rogue
get...
is perma-frozen past this point. So there,
Yeah.
yeah, the rogue can never, ever, ever
Yeah.
attack with her weapon again.
Oh, well,
Vanish? Okay, Vanish, right. Oh, and okay, here comes the SI. Of course. You know,
about time.
about time, baby. So this is pretty much over. We're looking at, 9 damage here from Firebat's side with 2 extra from Snowchugger, double Frostbolt. Um, I don't...
He has
Just go
18.
face. Just go face, Firebat. He knows it.
Yeah, Firebat only... But, yeah.
He's got nothing. There's no point to trading trade prints. You don't even have to play Frostbolt yet because you give them to him. So what you want to do is you want to just play Spider Tank and the Clockwork Dome can face once. Then again, he gives you coins, which you then Archmage into fireballs, right?
What if you Frostbolt Galliwix, Frostbolt the
Oh,
face, and then next turn you Antonidas coin, and then you win on turn 8?
Because you get two coins from trade prints, which actually, unlike trade prints, do trigger Antonidas.
Yeah. So I mean,
you know what? Mirror Entity is arguably one of the most disgusting tempo cards in the game by a long shot.
The only reason why it's balanced is because, well, why it was balanced was because there was aggro and it could whiff completely, and because it's a terrible draw and a terrible play on turn 3. But now with the scientists and with the fact now that Mage is actually the fastest deck, well, there's pretty much no downside at Mirror Entity.
Yeah, there's really no problem playing it. So I think this is arguably going to be a Frostbolt SI7 prep sap turn in an attempt to not die right away. I mean, it's going to have to be something along those lines. Because he can still live, theoretically, if his opponent has no more burn, so he's going to try to do it, but he can't possibly feel too hopeful about it.
Yeah, definitely not. He can try and get info, but he probably knows pretty much everything about the deck because there's very little variation between the Mech Mage decks.
Yeah, I think Mech Mage is one of the most stable archetypes. I think it's one of the decks the types of decks that are just play the same way across the entire field in general.
Yeah, I mean it's still a good thing if Darkwonyx has confirmation that Antonidas is played. He assumes it.
Yeah, well, this is lethal from reversing switch, making that Snowchugger 3 attack. That guarantees that the damage will be dealt just sufficiently, but Darkwonyx will die. So Mech Mage, again, snowballing out of control. If you can't stop that snowballing, there's absolutely no way for you to effectively deal with this. Oh, wow. Is Firebat really doing this? Oh, no.
Well played. Well played.
Wow.
At 30,000 coins. And Darkwonyx, thank you for that reversing switch. That's one deck down, so another win for Mech Mage. One of the strongest decks, again, one of the strongest and most represented decks in this tournament so far. You should expect it on ladder. Is the most consistent aggro deck at the very moment.
So Darkwonyx has to go for Warrior or Druid, and we've seen that Druid dies to Mech Mage, so Darkwonyx has pretty much only Warrior, and if he doesn't win with Warrior, he's pretty likely to get 0-3.
Yeah, slightly unfavored, but I feel like Ramp Druid, if it gets, like with Sen'jin Shield Masters, is still somewhat playable against the Mech Mage, because those Sen'jins and the Druid of the Claw and the Sludge Belchers, the combination of all these taunts really make for a hard time for Mech Mage. So it's generally pretty playable. Depending on the archetype, though, it might just not be optimal at all.
Yeah, and I mean, as long as your opponent doesn't get a Mad Scientist, and then you give a Belcher to your opponent, and then
yeah, well, the game is over.
Yeah.
I mean, I really don't like Mirror Entity for that specific reason, I guess, because you are forced to play around it, and even if you do, when you do end up having to play a minion, you give them charge.
Yeah.
It's almost as though Mirror Entity should say at the start of your next turn, get a copy of it, but it can't work, because that way you wouldn't be able to use it immediately, right? But at that point, is it worth playing? I mean, Mirror Entity cannot whiff right now. I guess if Hunter comes back, I mean, hyper-aggressive Hunter with Glaive Zukas and, the hyper-aggressive tool set, then maybe. But that's really weak to Paladin. So, will it ever really find a good spot?
Wow, so Firebat tossed the one drop. That's very interesting. I guess he's really fishing hard for the scientist to get the tempo boost.
I'm gonna guess he's fetching for Snow Chugger to auto win, but
Yeah, maybe.
I mean,
But I'm-
Inoyotron protects your minions from Fiery War Axe 2 hits. Frostbolt deals with Acolytes of Pain early. So I think there are better cards to have than the Cogmaster, which requires you to have a turn 2 mech immediately.
Yeah, that's a good point. And like the Clockwork Gnome is pretty much the only card that dies to the Cruel Taskmaster. Pretty sure it's the only X1. So
X1, yep.
yeah, so good call there from Firebat.
What Firebat plays here, assuming he plays Mad Scientist, like if he plays Mad Scientist here, he risks getting an Armor Smith, which is not, exactly stellar. If he, however, plays a turn 2, he could get an Acolyte of Pain, which is much, much better. Because one of the weaknesses of this type of deck is that he tends to get, they tend to not get the value they want.
And Orotron's so
card
strong here.
draw-wise. I don't know that it helps right now, but it's going to curve perfectly on turn 3 with Coin Frostbolt into Blast Mage. Darkwonyx has to play... I mean, if he plays it first, though...
Well, he doesn't want to give card draw to Firebat, but he doesn't want to give a Belcher to Firebat.
He could
Like,
give him Harrison
unless-
Jones, I guess.
But even then, that's at least 5 to your face.
No, you just shield slam it. You'll manage. You'll...
Right. You're not
I don't
gonna have shields. Doesn't work.
You'll try, at least. Okay, so he's gonna give him the Acolyte of Pain, I guess.
Yeah.
So this is gonna be a war of both players drawing as many cards as they possibly can, but I think Firebat has the edge having that Frostbolt here.
Yeah, I agree. But do you?
Oh, there are many lines of play here for Firebat, and I like a lot of them. I just feel like you have to negate the opponent's ability to draw. But playing an Oilotron, you give him card draw.
To do.
So I think you coin Frostbolt and you just maybe play it a bit slower than usual by pinging your own Acolyte over time.
Or maybe you actually just wait and
No, you can't.
when you're
because
gonna start lacking cards, you can ping.
Yeah, of course. But I mean, I thought you meant for the Frostbolt. Yeah, definitely. Like when you need the card draw, then sure.
Yeah.
I just feel like he has to deal with that Acolyte of Pain. Otherwise. this
Oh, and
will-
this Armor Smith now. Darkwonyx would have so much preferred to give an Armor Smith last turn.
He's still got a really nice curve if you look at it, because between the Fire War Axe, the re-armoring up of it, after using this charge, for instance, and replaying the other one, playing the Sludge Belcher, using a Shield Slam Harrison on turn 5, and the, on turn 6, and Dr. Boom, just off of what he's got in his hand, I feel like he's curving pretty well.
That's a great point. We're gonna have to see if Firebat can have exactly what he needs to go against this, and with the Acolyte, he has better odds of getting it.
Yeah, I think this is... You don't even want to play Armor Smith into Acolyte of Pain. Like, it's so bad. Giving your opponent, like, Mech Mage card draw, that's not an option.
The deck that's pretty solid because it just top decks lethal in the end game, and then you're gonna give it more card draw so it gets to it faster.
Yeah,
then-
Darkwonyx taking his sweet time because he knows there's really nothing he wants to do here. He's hovering over that Armor Smith, but... I think you attack an Oilotron, you armor up, and you re-weapon. Is that just boring? Like, it's so dull.
Okay. Awkward play. Not bad,
Oh.
just very awkward.
Firebat doesn't even think a second about dropping this. Blast Mage, however, could die to Shield Slam if enough armor is gotten off of it. Oh, never mind.
Nope,
Change of plans.
Didn't happen.
This is arguably one of the worst possible outcomes for Darkwonyx right now. He has to drop his Sludge Belcher, attack the Oilotron with the
What? No.
axe
What if?
and arms.
What if he attacks there, axes the 1/2, armors? No. Well.
He's never gonna have enough armor to kill the Blast Mage.
Shoot. No, he's missing 2. He's
He has
missing
to
one
play
thing.
Sludge. I mean, it's one of the most aggravating plays, but it lets you curve into Harrison and possibly a small Shield Slam, because your Slime and the Sludge Belcher will have gotten you armor off the Armor Smith, which will guarantee like a small Shield Slam into a Dr. Boom turn 7.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's not good, but
The amount of the card draw Firebat is getting from that Acolyte of Pain. This is insane.
yeah, I mean, get a secret off a scientist and draw 3 cards from it.
This is insane.
Not
It's like
too bad.
yeah, it's the absolute most. I think it's almost the best minion you could have hoped for against Control Warrior, because usually they will armor up out of range, which means you die to lack of card draw.
Well, basically the Blast Mage hits were very, very huge last turn. Because if they
Not
would have hit
giving
the
too
Armor
much
Smith,
armor.
yeah.
Okay.
I feel like no play is bad for Firebat here.
No, every line of play is just perfect outside of. I mean, he's actually
long
gonna. Darkwonyx is gonna get his 4 armor for that.
I mean, as long as Firebat doesn't get brawled and Darkwonyx doesn't have it in hand,
You know what though? This is an amazing turn for Darkwonyx. Well, amazing turn. It's a decent turn because he can shield slam the 4/4, Cruel Taskmaster the 5/1, and then develop a War Axe.
yeah, he might get the board. Might not be well, yeah, and with Doctor Boom next turn and with actually over
Brawl.
30 HP, Darkwonyx could actually do it. He didn't take damage. Firebat got a lot of card draw, but if Darkwonyx keeps the board, Firebat is not in lethal range anytime soon, so he won't be able to burst Darkwonyx down.
Yeah.
And if he's forced to use the fireballs that he's going to draw on minions because he doesn't have the board, then Darkwonyx is going to be in a super good shape.
Yeah, it's actually really weird because this is one of the positions I didn't think Darkwonyx would be in at this point. But the card draw from Acolyte of Pain not giving him enough. I think the lack of damage to the face is really what's not working for Firebat right now. All right, here goes the Shield Slam, Cruel Task, and Fiery War Axe play. Really strong board gaining play here by Darkwonyx.
Why didn't Darkwonyx axe the Norotron and then kill the Acolyte with the Armorsmith? I don't get this.
Because he
Is he-
wouldn't have had the armor to hit the 4/4 afterwards with a Shield Slam.
Oh, okay, good point.
Yeah, he would have been one armor off before he could actually pull off that play, I think.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, because now he's down at 3, so that makes sense.
Exactly. All right, so Firebat's current board state, not nearly as strong, but he still has Dr. Boom, so let's be honest. Oh, you've got to be...
Oh,
Oh.
is he gonna read the Doctor Boom next turn?
I mean, you just play it. At this point, what's the worst you're going to get? Harrison Jones? Okay, then that gives you time to play your own Boom first.
Yeah.
He plays Boom,
Oh,
you get
oh.
Boom.
That draw. Ugh. Mage Secrets are so good against Control.
All right. You know, if you play... I don't...
There's nothing. Like,
So you have to shield block into Armor Smiths and just spray. I mean, I don't even know. Or into Brawl. If you play Boom, you just kill yourself.
well, if you play Boom, you basically pay 7 mana to get 2 bombs.
Oh, perfect top. Well, not really.
No, should have played Boom. Because
Well, now if Firebat plays Dr. Boom, then Darkwonyx is going to have some sort of an answer. He kills it, then kills his own BGH that comes out of it. Of the mirror entity, that is. So if he just armors up here and passes...
yeah, okay, that's pretty decent.
But he has to think about the Dr. Boom possibilities, and it's fairly slim. I think the odds of Dr. Boom coming down next turn from Firebat are slimmer. So I think the upside might almost be most of the time to play, BGH right now. But it's so risky. You're so high on health. Can you really risk Dr. Boom falling down and you not having the answer?
Yeah, is this so hard? I mean, if Darkwonyx has a brawl somewhere, he might be fine just waiting a little bit and hope to draw it.
Yep. Alright, so Darkwonyx ends up at 37 effective health at the end of this turn. He knows this mirror entity, or at least assumes it is, plays very well around it. Expects a Dr. Boom from Firebat, who plays right into the BGH.
So I get Boom Jones, pretty good.
Yeah, you boom and then you attack the 4-2, then you Jones, and I think finally Darkwonyx might be in a pretty good position because this Doctor Boom still hasn't been played from him, which is going to guarantee some value against Mage. They still have to deal with it, you know, they can't just ignore it and go face at this point, because they haven't been able to assemble enough damage bursts to kill you outright. So he will have to play the trading game.
Yeah, and I guess the main question here is going to be, will Firebat be able to get a lot of value out of his Antonidas when he's going to draw it?
Yeah, well, I mean,
Darkwonyx won't have an answer.
But...
but one day Firebat's going to draw Antonidas, is going to be able to get fireballs out of it. If Darkwonyx doesn't have an answer,
he's going to have
die.
some kind of Sylvanas play eventually, but it's going to have to involve some kind of shield slam, because otherwise you can't kill it yourself. Unless you play Crush, which is, well, grats. You're a good taker.
So, he's hovering over Grommash, and looks like he's willing to trade into the 4-4 instead of playing Dr. Boom.
If you play Dr. Boom, you give it away to Cogmaster Drake, and the Boom bots are then trading into one another. But it's still the best way to wipe the board. It's like a pseudo-brawl in this case.
Yeah, it's very good. I like this play better, and then...
Ouch.
Oh, wow. That's a draw.
Ouch.
Wow. And so... What's the rest of Firebat's turn? Is he... is he starting to play around Brawl at this point, or is it not even worth it?
I think you trade the 1-1, hope for the Boombot to detonate the other Boombot or go face, and then probably use your Fireball to hit the Dr. Boom. It's such an easy way to remove Dr. Boom with that Drake. I mean, if this Boombot kills the Drake, it's going to be a crazy turn, but other than that... Alright, well... The tempo is still very much in Firebat's favor, able to develop even more minions on this board. 2 spare parts also from those Clockwork Gnomes after they're played. And there's no execute in Darkwonyx's hand to deal with the Drake.
Okay, that's pretty good. Not an insane play.
I almost feel like Grom is so much more threatening than what he's got in Sludge Belcher right now.
Yeah,
it's
definitely.
kind of weird, but...
Yeah, because Firebat's going to have to kill Grom, so that buys the 9 HP that Grom has. Then you can armor, and you can hope to draw something to play with that Belcher, like a Deathbite.
Yeah,
and
just
not
about
just
anything
Belcher
to
armor.
curve with it. Exactly.
Yeah.
Because Grom lets you armor up and remove stuff. It's essentially a 3-for-1, I feel, at this point. Grom is essentially going to kill about 3 things. Unless a Fireball is top decked, of course. Uh-oh.
Well,
that's not quite a Fireball, but it's close enough.
so,
Do you just
draw the
ignore
Brawl?
Grom? I think you... I don't even know. I almost want to... No, he has to trade the Clockwork Gnomes and get 3 spare parts right now. This is going to be
yeah,
crazy.
why not?
Oh.
Oh. Okay,
Oh,
well,
no.
draw Brawl. Only answer.
Oh no. I am feeling so bad for Darkwonyx right now. I thought he was able to stabilize and then this comes out.
Wow.
Do you even taunt Antonidas because it's weak to Black Knight? I guess you just get it for the Fireball in case Brawl
Well,
is
you
played.
can't get
but-
Black Knight at this turn, so you don't care. I mean, you're gonna get 5 fireballs out of...
Wow. While a minion has stealth. Oh!
Oh,
Rag in the roast! This YOLO Rag is going...
well,
Well, then you're still dead, though. Because you're dead to double Fireball. Oh no, your armor up will save you.
yeah.
Okay,
Okay, well,
If it gets Antonidas, he might live 1 turn for the Shield Maiden.
alright. 1 in 3. Get in there, Rag.
Alright, let's see if the Ragnaros is gonna be helpful here. And
Oh, Ragnaros got taunted.
And
So-
now that's 14 damage from Firebat, 15 with hero power plus 4 from the Drake. So he has to
does-
just put everything to the face right now.
Or does he fireball Rag and...
And just keep going for pressure. I guess you could, but I'd almost just go full face here.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, you've got like another 12 on the back end, and your opponent's only way to win is to armor up beyond reach, and that imposes a shield maiden play. And armor up, and Ragnaros needs to kill. If it doesn't kill the Drake, you still win. I think.
So
Because he can
Shield
play
Maiden-
Sludge and Shield Maiden, you know?
Yeah, Shield Maiden go to 16. Then there's
Yeah,
has to
you're
be
still...
Drake.
Yeah, it's Drake or die. And even
No,
then...
it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it
No,
doesn't
he's
matter, he
still
still has
Yeah.
12 otherwise.
Alright, well, Ragnar's BMs.
Whoa, another win for Mech Mage here for Firebat. That Archmage Antonidas at the exact moment Darkwonyx was about to stabilize and finally swing the game back in his favor.
Yeah.
That was
That was
really
huge because
one-sided.
if Darkwonyx would have been able to play Belcher or Shield Maiden instead of Ragnos, he could have bought some HP, taken less damage from the minions, and if Antonidas would have came later, then Darkwonyx could have had answers for this.
Yeah. And you've noticed like how strong Mirror Entity is in itself, because that's kind of a problem, but it's not the bulk. It's mostly Mad Scientist that enables that card to just shine completely. Sometimes you'll get good times where you can play, Mirror Entity on your own with the curve, but at 3 mana, if the metagame is too aggressive, it can be very difficult. But when you get it for 2 mana against a control deck, you're just going to wreck them regardless of what they give you. Alright, well there's one deck left here for Darkwonyx, I believe.
Yeah, he has to 3-0 with Druid, and Druid versus Mech Mage is definitely not a good matchup. And then he'd have to win against Warlock and Rogue as well.
I don't think... Rogue... I think if your deck, your Druid deck is very aggressive, you could win against Rogue. But if it's
Ramp,
actually... yeah, if it's Ramp, you're just going to get sapped to death.
Yeah.
They'll get one good turn with Tinker's Sharp Sword Oil and just sap you until you die.
So this is potentially the last game for today.
Yep, let's see what deck Darkwonyx has brought. We know what Firebat has, we've seen how it went, and it looks to be a combo Druid.
Yep, at least running one, seeing the Shredder, we can...
I can assume
We
two.
Yeah, we can...
Oh,
And
wow,
Pilot
he
Sky got
mulliganed. Yeah, I don't think this is exactly what he wanted to get. I mean, that Wrath is going to be helpful to deal with Mech Warpers. But beside that, like, he's going to have a coin Keeper of the Grove play on turn 3 with that, but I don't know that it's going to be...
Well, at
That's
least this game,
stellar.
Firebat doesn't have the coin, so he can't go for Mech Warper coin, an Oritron to protect it. Or,
Yeah, he
or
still gets he still gets a really, really solid follow-up regardless.
Oh, it is amazing. There's still Mech Warper and Oritron next turn, but then Darkwonyx is going to be able to coin and silence maybe the Mech Warper, even though it's terrible. I
It's a
had no
terrible
idea.
play. I think he just plays Shade to kill the Anoitrons that come out. Oh wow, Firebat's hand is crazy. I mean, it doesn't look like much, but the ability to play those mechs and flood the board means that he's snowballing for the time being, and when he draws Mirror Entity, it's just gonna get worse.
Yeah, so now you gotta wrath the Mech Warper, otherwise you...
Lose the game?
done.
Yeah, probably.
But even then, it's so hard. And I hope the Darkwonyx can actually pull off the game here, because I'd like to see a Druid win this matchup.
It's actually kind of weird because, well, actually, this Snow Chugger is going to seal that hero power into oblivion. I don't think Darkwonyx is going to get much hero power value anymore, but he's starting to curve pretty well. You know, if he finds a swipe after that Keeper of the Grove, then things might get a little more interesting for him.
So there's a swipe, and I mean, Firebat's board has a lot of minions, but isn't a lot of damage. That's only 6 damage.
It looks like much, but it really isn't. Druid can stabilize off of this and turn the game around once he gets the initial, the combo. He starts to get maybe a Druid of the Claw with Taunt to stop the aggression while his Spectral Knights are pounding at Firebat's face. So there is something to be said about this current board state. I feel like Darkwonyx is hesitating about swiping now or later, depending on whether or not Mirror Entity comes out, and he wants to give a 2/4 instead of a Spectral Knight.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I don't know. Darkwonyx could pull it off, I think, with double Ancient Allure that could be used for healing instead of draw, because he has way more cards than Mage anyways.
Yeah. I like the swipe here from Darkwonyx. I think he's putting his opponent on the potential Mirror Entity play in the future, and it also allows him to keep the Grove the same way that he would have done otherwise. But he doesn't give his opponent too much value out of it. I love this.
Yeah. And now Firebat kind of wants to kill this Shade before it grows and trades even more, but then
But he's
can't
all
really
in.
afford to lose his minions, so...
Yeah. He is most definitely all in, and we see Darkwonyx's hand is just improving. Every single turn, this hand is getting better and better.
I like this a lot.
You know what? This looks like the Druid stabilizing, and he now Firebat in the position of having to trade with the Shade. It's going to slow him down a little bit, because he's going to have to play leave the Keeper of the Grove able to attack, which is going to give his opponent the ability to remove Clockwork Gnome right away.
This is... Firebat's board is still a threat, but getting lower and lower, and I think Darkwonyx can just go for the Sky Golem here, and next turn he can heal his face and just go for Firebat's face.
I feel like, if anything, this is going to be Archmage Antonidas winning the game again at any point. Firebat is going to have to be hyper-aggressive about his approach here.
Yeah, he can't slow down. He has to go all in and hope for the best. He knows he's behind at this point. So he either has to draw Antonidas or just Fireball in the next 2 turns, but Darkwonyx has healing, so it's going to be quite hard to pull off.
Yeah, that's 10 more health that Firebat will have to go through without any fireballs at the moment. And I don't think he runs any card draw outside of the... I don't think Mech Mage runs any card draw at the moment. Jeeves
not that
used
I
to
know
be
of.
a small thing, but because sometimes you get stuck with a pretty filled up hand, Jeeves is not nearly as valuable in that specific archetype as it was in the older Mage.
Yeah. Well, there's anti-synergy between the fact that you want to keep spare parts for Antonidas and Jeeves. Doesn't really make sense.
Yep, so there's no card draw, and Darkwonyx is threatening awkward lethals here
Yeah.
with Savage Roars.
Another freeze, another coolant, which might help Firebat. Just buy a little bit of time, but
I mean, if you
Not sure
freeze
if it's
that
gonna be
6-4 again... I mean, you
Yeah,
have
you
to
wanna-
freeze the 6-4, but...
yeah, you have to prevent Darkwonyx from trading.
You know what? I feel like you freeze the 5-5, and then you hope for Fireball top deck and you win. If he
This
gets
is-
the Fireball top deck, he can win right now.
So I guess Darkwonyx
has
has
to
to heal
heal.
again. Yeah.
Yeah, it's another heal turn. Feels
Yeah,
a
but
bit
then-
passive, but you win.
And if he's been keeping track of Firebat's hand, he knows that this is a spare part, so as long as he heals, there is no way he dies because there's maximum damage is going to be a Fireball.
Uh-oh. If a Fireball comes out next turn, that could change things again.
Oh wow, okay, pretty good. So get to ping an Ancient Lore, get a
And he hit
little
the
bit of
face
board
for
back.
9. He hits the face for 9. That is I mean, I guess you could use your Ancient of your Keeper of the Grove to kill the Keeper, but there's so much damage. You can't even afford not going face. You have to force the Druid to make
Yeah.
the trades or have lethal.
Yeah.
You're forcing him to
Whatever-
have the lethal right now.
Oh, is this...
No, it's not. I mean, 11, 13, plus 8, 21. No, he doesn't have it. Close
Oh.
enough, but not quite. I guess it's still going to have to be a trade turn. And he doesn't have enough to kill everything, if you think about it, because he's got 3 minions, and his face cannot kill anything, even with Savage Roar.
So he's still going to take 2 next turn, because I guess you Savage Roar so you can kill the Spider Tank with the Keeper. It's pretty bad, but if you get to live, then you should win the game.
Yeah, it's all about just living through this turn and hoping that you can turn the game around. If Firebat gets back-to-back top decks, he could win, but it's a very
Yeah.
slim chance.
Yeah. So I guess Darkwonyx is going to play either the Spectral Knight or the BGH, and then Savage Roar. I think I'd BGH so I can hero power and get just the 1 HP that might make a difference in a few turns.
Yeah, you need that
Because
one health, I think.
both attack for 4 anyways, so it doesn't really matter. The HP doesn't matter that much.
Yeah, but definitely a Savage Roar turn. Unfortunately, there's no lethal threat.
And
But-
you hope for Kazdingo.
Yeah, I like that he played
out of
BGH
the
first
Golem.
and didn't make the mistake of... I mean, I hope he doesn't rope here, because this would be a devastating...
Yeah, that's a very good point. The fact that he didn't make the mistake of having to kill one of his own minions with the BGH.
Yep. Ooh! Wow,
Mer-
he gets the trade
Wow.
with old Murkai. This is crazy.
That is excellent.
Oh, that is not what Firebat wanted to see.
This is sad.
All right.
Firebat started to ping minions. That's not looking well for him. I mean, I guess you simply boom and hero power, or no, actually maybe use Spectral Knight and Shredder so that you can trade easier with minions, and if you get the roar, you have lethal.
Yeah, you're dead to Pyroblast, but you don't expect Pyroblast, essentially.
Yeah, there's nothing he can do about it, anyways.
Exactly.
Doesn't
It's
matter.
not like he armoring up would actually save you.
Mhm.
Alright, there's no lethal on the board, but it's threatening at the moment. There's 12 damage coming up from Darkwonyx onto Firebat. Firebat is going to try to force Darkwonyx to make a bad trade again. Is that lethal? That's 12 plus 8. That is exactly lethal off the hero power.
Exactly lethal. Wow, what a game from Darkwonyx. That is insane.
Yeah, a really, really unfavored matchup, and he still got the win. It took everything, but ultimately he'll be able to at least hang around in this series.
Yeah. Oh wow, are we... It's too early to tell, but are we gonna see the reverse alt kill? That would be
Well,
insane.
Firebat still has his Paladin, I believe.
Warlock and Rogue.
Warlock
If
and
I'm
Rogue,
not
that's right. So Rogue against this is probably not an option, and his Warlock against double combo a little weak. But if there's enough healing in there, like we saw from ECOP, that it's not a good matchup. I feel like Druid is still favored against both of those.
So we could see the reverse alt kill. That would be so crazy.
I mean, if Darkwonyx manages to pull off a reverse sweep on Firebat of all people, with a deck that Firebat is known for just stealing games with, this is irony at its finest.
Yeah, that would be yet another reason to pick him in a bar fight.
Oh my goodness. Oh wow. All right. Well, we should be jumping in that game. What do you think Firebat will pick here? Warlock or Rogue?
I think you'd like... He wants to pick the worst matchup, actually, because he wants to get as much information as possible about that Druid. So he's probably going to go Rogue, I guess, unless his Warlock is really bad against Druid. So he can try and see as much of the cards as possible from Darkwonyx's Druid.
Yeah, just try to get as much information with a bad matchup, and then try to maybe seal the series with the ultimate, the last deck you've got, and see if you can just end it there. Thing is, Rogue can tend to work well if Druid is innervating stuff out and plays into sap too much, but I don't think Darkwonyx will make that mistake.
But then again, if the Druid has a good curve and Rogue's forced to sap early, it's extremely bad for Rogue.
Am I looking at Zoo here? Oh goodness, please no. This is Hobgoblin Zoo. I am already feeling the Hobgoblin Zoo.
Well, there's an Argent Choir and a Voidwalker, so...
Why do I feel like this is Hobgoblin Zoo? I guess I just haven't seen anything. I haven't seen Argent Choir in Zoo in so long. And the only place where I've seen it is like with Jeeves in Hobgoblin with Anoyotrons. Which is excessively good against Druid Burst, by the way. It's one of the...
Unless Firebat didn't update his Zoo since
since what, March of last year?
But...
Yeah, exactly.
I'd be pretty surprised. So, I mean, and with the Creeper, there's going to be a Hobgoblin at some point. And...
I mean, there might not be. It's not a deck that I've seen very often, but it's one that I love. I just don't know that it's highly played in competitive circles.
Well, I really don't see why you'd play the Argent Squire. That's the weird card. Why wouldn't you play Lepronome instead?
Abusive Sergeant, Argent Squire trades with a Zombie Chow, perhaps.
Okay.
That might be a decent argument for it. It also kills Shredders. The first part of a Shredder. So
okay, so maybe
there is merit
just a
to it.
meta call. This... Yeah, okay,
Yes,
Darkwonyx has a curve. This is only 3 damage on board from Firebat, so... It's not the worst, but like you said, the Squire is going to be pretty good.
Yeah, it's going to be an amazing card for him right now. I don't even think you want to play the Abusive anywhere else than on the Nerubian Egg. Because if you look at the current board state, Nerubian Egg is going to give you a lot more value out of the Abusive than anything else. And he's about to empty his hand before the Doom card, which is going to be a really, really important play.
Yeah.
I mean, Darkwonyx is kind of uncomfortable with this. He's got the Wrath, he's got the BGH for just trading, but if Firebat establishes any more board presence, that could really snowball. Zoo is known for doing this to Druid. It's a pretty bad matchup for Druid overall, or at least it used to be. It's just that we haven't seen much Zoo recently.
Yeah, and I guess now Firebat just busts the egg, kills the BGH, ignores the Shredder, and taunts
up the Creeper.
Creeper?
Oh yeah, sure. Why not? It doesn't really matter, honestly. You could
If
taunt
you
the
taunt the
Squire.
Spider, Darkwonyx can't get a good swipe.
That's right. Otherwise, he would pop the Spider, then swipe, and get pretty good value.
And also, you force it to hit your taunt twice. Just the Divine Shield is insane value here.
Force of Nature, Wrath. So hero power the Argent, trade with Wrath for card draw, but then you've got nothing. So I think it's either Force of Nature or Wrath hero power. I don't think Paladin Sky Golem is a viable play here. It's too slow.
I guess what you want to do is play Boom next turn, so that means how can you make a board that's good against it
involves Fawn, I think. You have to Force of Nature just to get as many things off the board as you can. It lets you kill that 4/4, so you take a smaller amount of damage. I'm not sure about cycling the Shredder when you consider the fact that you could have used it to ping the Argent Squire, then use 2 Treants.
Yeah,
but it lets him kill
way
an extra minion, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. And I guess you just didn't expect to get a useless minion.
Oh wow, Firebat with that Doomguard just before Dr. Boom. I mean, Dr. Boom is nice, but he's not nice enough. I mean, look at the amount of damage here. You can't play Ancient of Lore to just heal, because you're slowing down. You have to at least counter pressure with Dr. Boom. Yep.
I mean, it's still possible for Darkwonyx. If Firebat gets bad draws, like this Squire is not that great. It's good against bombs, but getting 1-drops every turn.
Thing is, those 1/1s are really sticky. You can't get rid of those stupid creepers right now.
Yeah, but if
And you can't even
Darkwonyx
pop them.
draws a swipe and gets good bomb hits,
So Ancient of
that's
Lore.
pretty good.
Okay, yeah, Darkwonyx is on his way, sorry, to stabilize. If he taunts up and uses Wrath and Hero Power to wipe some of the board, then all it would take is an Ancient of Lore heal afterwards to maybe just put Firebat in such a really weak position that he couldn't really get the lethal.
And Darkwonyx won't be in Soulfire range if Firebat runs it, or in Dark Bomb range.
Dark Bomb range, yep.
So he could do it. He could do it.
Let's see where that bomb goes. It hits the Argent Squire. Oh, this is probably not the optimal outcome. It lets you hero power it down, though, or trade your Boom Bot into it. But then if you pop a Spider, you put more damage on the board. That is arguably one of the last things you want to do in this position.
Hero Power is the 1/1. Keeps the bomb to get more value later, because killing creepers is increasing the damage that Firebat would have, so there's not really any point in killing them.
Oh,
What?
he's running the Argent Squires for this. Now it all makes sense.
Wow, okay.
Oh, this juggler is going to be crazy.
This juggler. Okay, if the bomb kills the juggler right now,
No,
that
it's killed the Spider,
the bomb.
actually.
Okay.
I mean, there's no swipe. So if you look at this right now, from Darkwonyx's perspective, he is still getting overrun. You know, that Ancient Washer I thought was going to be a terrible minion, but if you think about it, it tanked 3 hits from that juggler. That is sick.
Yeah, that's pretty good. What if... Does Darkwonyx YOLO draw 2 cards to get swipe? Or does he... I guess he could Wrath the Juggler...
I think you trade Boom into Juggler, 4/5 into 3/3, or Ancient of Lore yourself, or even a Wrath 3/3, Ancient of Lore yourself, and then you win. Like, you can't lose this if you trade Dr. Boom on the Juggler, and you Wrath the Blood Knight. I guess Direwolf Alpha would be a problem, but...
Even then.
Yeah, you need to get, like, Direwolf Alpha into Doomguard. Like, it's...
Yeah. But he can't play both next turn. So...
Exactly. He's 1 mana off.
Yeah, so then second lore the following turn. Wow, Darkwonyx. It looks like Darkwonyx might be able to
Reverse
this
sweep
game's-
Firebat here?
That would be insane. Oh, the YOLO draw for swipe.
No. Oh
Didn't
no.
get- But
Well, he can still manage this perfectly. It
yeah,
doesn't
he's
really
still not
matter.
dead.
And you know, it also allows him to put pressure in a way that if he finds Savage Roar anytime soon, this seals the game even further. Alright, the Doctor Boom trade. Does he innervate Hero Power just to get extra health and kill one spider to mitigate Direwolf alpha value?
Yeah. And also the 1 health might be pretty important.
Alright, let's see what ends up happening here. So Darkwonyx is on the offensive. That is going to allow Firebat to kill that 4-5. More than enough, holy hell. And then he can freeze that 5-5.
Wow, okay. Darkwonyx needs swipe here.
Yeah, he needs to find swipe.
But he doesn't have innervate, so he has to top deck it or get it off of Wild Growth.
Oh!
What? What? Darkwonyx is... Wow.
He has to... Does he Loatheb to prevent Dark Bomb? Well, then... I mean, Dark Bomb plays off of a Doom Guard, for instance. Or do you play the... I think Loatheb is such a safer play than Pilot Sky Golem. He doesn't feel so. I'd be afraid.
Yeah. Oh. What? But Darkwonyx is fine. He just heals again.
Yeah, and now he can play Loatheb.
Wait.
Oh, I think... Is that lethal?
That's lethal. No, that's not... No! He can't play it. So he has to heal again, and then... That's lethal next turn.
You have to heal here. You can't actually draw cards, right?
Yeah.
Like, well, the amount of times where he just died to that is crazy.
And it...
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think there's a draw Firebat could have to...
Yeah, Definitive Argus could buy him a turn. Yeah, Blood Knight is gonna do nothing. I like that he's playing Blood Knight. I think that's a hard meta game counter against Paladin and all their stupid shielded mini-bots. It also deals with Noyotrons from Mages, so I feel like as a meta call, it's a really, really sick play. And Zoo in the position of having...
Oh, if he would have played the... No, not enough mana, never mind.
Yeah, you can't play both. So wow.
2-2, that is, wow. Match point.
Equality here. We have a 2-2 Firebat versus Darkwonyx. Firebat going 2-0 initially into a 2-2 reverse possible sweep from Darkwonyx with Druid, just showing how consistent that class has been across the entire game. I'm not exactly sure how that's going to go.
You say consistent, but those were two of the worst matchups for Druid. I just cannot believe it.
Yeah, that just goes to show.
Yeah.
It pull off the craziest stuff.
Yeah.
Alright, so the only deck left for Firebat is a rogue deck, and I'm going to be honest with you, unless he's got some really fancy tech up his sleeve, this is not a deck I'd like to play against. I mean, rogue versus fast Druid.
I'm wondering, I mean, why'd he bring the Warlock first? Like,
well, probably to throw it away. I mean, it might even be a worse matchup than the rogue in that specific case.
Yeah, exactly. So, and Zoo was still a pretty good matchup against the Druid. So, I don't know.
What could be in that rogue deck? I don't expect any Iron Sensei shenanigans, so no tempo. I'm expecting more of a Tinker Sharpsword Oil kind of play, which is a bit more honest, I guess, and straightforward. Saps are going to be pretty solid. Oh yeah, okay, so it looks like so far like a minion-based rogue, which actually has pretty good chances against this type of deck if it manages to stick and just, snowball out of control, get Violet Teacher when there's no swipe.
Yeah, and playing Farseer can be pretty good because if you have healing, then you can get out of combo range and buy yourself a whole turn for just 3 mana.
But if you look at Darkwonyx's hand, Spectral Knight here, really hard to manage as a rogue.
Yeah.
Tinker's Oil deck, and there we go.
But
the fully expected card here.
Yeah. Firebat's hand's not very good, though.
The question is, can Darkwonyx afford sitting on that coin for turn 4 Spectral Knight, or is he going to try to get the shade out? I almost feel like you might as well wait for turn 4 to get an amazing Spectral Knight curve and then Druid of the Claw.
Yeah, I agree. That way you can go for Spectral Knight, Druid of the Claw, like you say, and just play the Shade when you have spare mana, when maybe you want to play a Wrath in the same turn, or when you're going to have an Ancient Lore and Shade on turn 10 or something like that.
You know what's interesting? If a Shade is played here, Firebat can Fan of Knives and prep Fan of Knives. giving himself 2 card draws and avoiding the inevitable demise from the Shade of Nax. You know this card is just insane if it just sits there forever. So I feel like this is a pretty decent option.
Yeah, and both the fan cycles, so you use your turn and your preparation.
The thing is, like, you don't deal damage to enough stuff, and if you find spell damage, maybe using it with a single Fan of Knives, like Azure Drake Prep Fan, will do the same exact amount of damage.
Yeah.
And the Druid has to trade here, because as a rogue, you can, muster some really nasty burst.
Well, next turn could, Firebat could Violet Teacher Prep Oil, which is not that great because then the oil
it's actually
is
really
probably
solid here.
But it like the oil could buff a 1/1, which is not the best. But as long as Darkwonyx doesn't have swipe, it's pretty solid.
Spectral Knight here, I'm like 99% sure is gonna get played. It's too strong a card not to try to curve it perfectly into a rogue.
Yeah.
But that
Now
means Tinker's Sharpsword Oil is almost
that's
a
gonna be a turn.
liability. But it's gonna are we quite there yet though? Are we quite at the Azure Drake Prep Fan? I really like it, personally. It allows you to set up that next Fan of Knives so well. And that Blade Flurry with Tinkers in a few turns.
Oh wow.
It's a matter of redaggering, but I feel like it's pretty strong. I don't even know if you want a Fan of Knives anymore, though. Because you could fan, prep, Tinker, Blade Flurry, and get a disgusting board clear.
Oh, that would be so strong. I really, really like Darkwonyx's starting hand, but now
Yeah, I'm looking at Firebat's follow-ups, and they're actually amazing board wipe-wise. Reminds me of the Alpha, Savagery for Druids at this point.
Oh. Okay, so how can Darkwonyx get back in this game? Or actually, not lose the game, because he's not out yet, but...
Yeah, I feel like, Pilot of Shredder would give him some protection against board wipes, but since it trades so poorly with the, Earthling Farseer, you know what, I thought Darkwonyx was having a really nice chance here, but looking at Firebat's current hand and the fact that he's got a prep to complement all the spells that he has, that's going to give him a massive advantage as far as clearing the board, and since he hasn't drawn a sap yet, he's just one sap away from establishing complete dominance over this board. I don't know that Darkwonyx can really do much against the sap anyway.
Yeah, and Firebat spells are going to get so much value because the oil and the flurry are so huge when played together that Firebat can wait for his card draw, which would be Gadgetzan or Sprint.
I really like Wrath on the 3/3 trade with the 4/6 on the Drake and then the 4/4 and the 2/4 and play BGH as a naked body. That seems like a really far-fetched play, but ultimately there's nothing else that's really going to do much for you.
Yeah,
to protect against Tinkers. Double Fan of Knives value.
So
I don't even know.
But like it's value, but you skip your turn.
It doesn't matter. You've got a perfect follow-up with Violet Teacher into 30,000 spells.
Yeah,
I mean,
but then
do I
you
even
lost
care?
the initiative. Like Darkwonyx, we know has shredders that are very sticky minions. It's like
it's very easy for Rogue to recover the initiative, I think, but just because of the way the backstab, eviscerates, and saps work, and he hasn't drawn a single one of them, so I feel like it's very simple for Firebat to recover the initiative if he loses it. Like, what's he gonna play at this point on turn 6? Piloted Sky Golem at the very best. Yeah, if you look at this board right now, like, Firebat's position is disgustingly strong.
Yeah. Then again, Darkwonyx will be able to swipe and Hero Power or Wrath.
Is this a turn where you SI7 agent, or you just start prepping everything you've got and hope there's no swipe coming up?
I'm ready to learn.
Wow, okay. Firebat is all in on that one.
It's SI7 what comes out of it.
You're at least going to keep the SI7 off of this.
This guy's toast.
Even if
Alright.
everything gets swiped.
Yep.
Which lets you get a really nice Tinker's Sharpsword Oil. Because he's going to get buffed by it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, swipe Hero Power takes your opponent's entire turn. You've recovered initiative. You could Wrath for cycle.
Yeah, I think you... Yeah, I guess you have to find the second swipe. Like, you need removal at this point. Because just the minions aren't gonna do it.
Yeah, and you can't let this board live. Like, you have to wipe it. You're forced on the defensive. I think Blood Mage, Thanos, Shiv, Tinker, Sharpsword for the following turn is a thing. You start with Shiv, then your Tinkers, then your Blood Mage, whatever it is. Just to get that Tinkers up and running on the SI7. To get the damage in, you've got Blade Flurry set up.
And there's the second swipe, so there's hope. There's hope for Darkwonyx.
I don't know what the second swipe accomplishes, though. That's the thing.
Well, it's gonna help clear next turn, so...
You know what? If South Sea deckhands are around, Firebat's just gonna wait for that perfect opportunity.
Yeah.
I like the Earthling Farseer over the SI7 here.
Yeah. This
A
Farseer
much better play.
just making the swipe bad.
It consolidates the board in a way that you can't use swipe in conjunction with your hero power to wipe this. And now swipe and hero power will kill only, it'll kill these two minions. But the Earthling Farseer, again, just staying up. Deadly Poison Tinkers, I think we're reaching dangerous near lethal territory. Deadly Tinkers. Let me think, that's 2 plus 3. So you got 5, so you hit for 6, your minion hits for 6, you got 12.
That's 16.
He's one off lethal. Actually, he's got lethal with SI7 on the following turn.
No,
He's
because he
got
can't play SI this
5.
turn.
Yeah, I know, on the following turn. So this kind of makes me want to consider the Gadgetsan SI7 play where you just put stuff on the board.
Wait, you could Gadgetzan, Deadly Poison, attack face, Blade Flurry, and then next turn you dagger again.
And Tinkers?
Yeah, you could SI.
Next turn.
Yeah,
Yeah, well, I
you
guess
Tinkers
you could
again
do it
and
next
Flurry.
turn, yeah, just to trigger the combo. So you're just gonna get as much damage as you can this turn and cycle off the Gadge. Oh,
He can't
this
flurry this.
This can't be good.
Oh. Oh wow. I mean, I wouldn't think this can bring Darkwonyx back in the game, but
Can't believe this.
well, now Darkwonyx can force a nature clear the board.
This can't be right. Yeah, force to make sure perfect clear, and then there's no more Firebat's Blade Flurry has been completely wrecked by this.
Wow.
This is a nightmare. I guess you go for the Violet Teacher SI7 play, and then you Blade Flurry. That way, the whatever happens. Oh, okay. You know what? Sap might just be interesting enough that you want to do that. You hit phase, then you stab the egg.
No, I
Or
think
you wait
should-
for the taunt. You just wait.
Yeah, you hit face, dagger, and the next turn you play something, sharp sword, and then flurry.
Yeah. Why would you stab the egg? I think I've been casting for 8 hours. Lotheb.
That can buy one turn.
Lotheb and
then
Druid Claw
Lotheb-
will buy one turn.
You charge face with the druid to that way if you draw.
Nah, you can't. I believe if you do that, you lose. You still stab the Druid of the Claw here to get an extra 7 damage in, and then you'll rely on your Tinker's Eviscerate on the following turn to just win. But if the opponent has the combo, you're dead. If you don't kill Lotheb.
No, not even. Because it's
Yeah.
when you.
Yeah, but there's an egg. Like,
Oh, right.
yeah, you're
Never
dead
mind.
if you don't.
There's an egg.
It's Firebat actually. I think the safe play would be to deal with this. The problem is if you don't go face now, Druid of the Claw gets replayed.
Yeah, he has to YOLO, and is okay. This draw Darkwonyx's
Ticket to redemption.
has 2 Savage Roars. In the
One
deck.
of them will do it. Oh, that's not it. Alright, so Darkwonyx is probably gonna fall here. I can't think of a way for him to avoid the inevitable Blade Flurry kill with Eviscerate. I mean, there's nothing you can do. You just dagger up Tinkers, Blade Flurry, Eviscerate, and you win. You don't even need to combo it. It's over.
Wait, No, okay, he can't Wild Growth into Roar. That's not lethal anymore, but
That's not lethal either.
oh, he plays Black Knight, so maybe he only has 1 Savage Roar if he plays the Black Knight. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think this plays a bit more round control, so that makes a lot of sense. Alright, so there's maybe only 1 copy of Sagiror in Darkwonyx's deck. A little unorthodox nowadays, because everybody's going full polarized, either hyper-aggressive or hyper-wall.
Yeah. So in any case, it looks like Darkwonyx is gonna fall to Firebat. being 0-2 at first, though, so I mean, pulling this, pulling it a 2-3 was extremely good from Darkwonyx.
Getting a near reverse sweep against matchups that were really not in his favor at all.
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh, and there's
if that didn't do it, this will do it. Tinker Sharpsword roll again, one of the really strongest new tools for rogues. A lot of people expected Mech Rogue to be a thing, but it just hasn't been able to shine the way that maybe Blizzard wanted it to. This Tinker Sharpsword, although my favorite card from GVG since the release and the announcement, and I haven't been disappointed. Everything about it just screamed pure value, and it seems to be one of the most played around cards for now.
And it's so hard to play around too, because you don't know which minion's it's gonna buff, and it's so good in conjunction with Blade Flurry and the Assassin's Blade and the Deadly Poison if you want to clear for even more. So you play around combination of cards, but there's so much synergy with the oil that it's really hard to know what to play around.
Yeah, and I've also gotten word, apparently ECOP won against Mason in his group, so ECOP is going to be going there into the finals tomorrow that we'll be casting. So this is it. This is the last match of the day for this group. That was a really long day. That's what, 8 hours and some, I believe, of casting so far. So those were really exciting games. We've seen a lot of really interesting stuff. We're going to see more of it tomorrow between the winners. I believe that makes Maverick, who's going to move on. Not Maverick. There's going to be Darkwonyx going to move on. I mean,
No,
Firebat's going to move on.
Darkwonyx is going to have to win against Mr. Yagut if he wants to move on.
Okay, so we won't have the results until tomorrow. All right, perfect. Right. So we'll just give you the updates on the brackets tomorrow. So that was it for the tournament, guys. For this first part of the tournament round, this is a group stage, basically. Group A to D were played today. We're going to have more of that tomorrow. In the meantime, I'd invite you to go check out the sponsors of this this tournament, Mad Catz, facebook.com/madcats.german to get some of the hardware that they are giving away right now. You just put a comment, like them, share, whatever it is. So just check them out, and that'd be a ticket to free hardware.
Yeah, and then don't forget to come back tomorrow at 6 p.m. Central Eastern Time, or noon for East of North America, or 9 a.m. if you're West Coast. We'll be back, and there's gonna be we're gonna cast finals match. So it's gonna be another big day of amazing Hearthstone matches.
Yeah, I don't know, like, I'm really curious to see if Darkwonyx manages to make it out of the loser's bracket, and if we get to see him face off against Firebat again for that revenge, perhaps. So on this note, guys, take care of yourselves, and as usual, may the fun and the luck be with you.